Has your dog ever exploded with energy racing around the house, like lightning for no reason at all? Science says it's not random. These famous Zoomies are connected to deep instincts, emotional health, and even how dogs read the environment you create. In this video, you'll discover 9 research-backed reasons behind this wild behavior, and why the final one reveals more about you than about your dog. So let's start with the most common reason, one that builds up quietly in every dog until it bursts out in those crazy circles. Number 1. Pent-up energy. Picture a bottle of soda shaken over and over but never opened. That's your dog when energy builds up inside with nowhere to go. It doesn't just sit there quietly. It bubbles. It fizzes. And then, one moment, the cap blows off and you're watching your dog tear through the living room like a rocket. To you, it looks like madness. But to them, it's survival. Their body is screaming for release, and Zoomies are the only language they know to answer that call. Scientists at the University of Bristol observed that dogs deprived of daily exercise show 40% more spontaneous energy bursts compared to those who walk twice a day. Think about that 4 out of 10 dogs will turn your house into a racetrack simply because their body can't hold the charge anymore. And it's not just about muscles, it's chemistry. When energy is trapped too long, cortisol, the stress hormone, creeps higher. A sprint, a mad dash, even a wild zigzag across the carpet slams that hormone down and floods their brain with endorphins. In other words, Zoomies are their instant therapy session. But here's the part most owners miss: Zoomies aren't random chaos, they're a message. A flashing neon sign that says, I need more movement, more adventure, more life outside these walls. Miss the sign, and you risk a restless, anxious dog. Catch it, and you unlock a calmer, happier friend. So the next time you see that sudden explosion, don't just laugh. Ask yourself, how long has the bottle been shaking? And if this is only the first reason, imagine what the next ones will reveal. Number 2. Post-bath or potty celebrations. You towel them off, you think the routine is done, and suddenly your calm dog explodes into a lightning storm, racing from room to room like a furry meteor. Why, to us, it looks like comedy. To them, it's chemistry. Imagine stepping out of a cold shower into winter air. Your skin tingles, your body jolts awake, and you just want to move. That's your dog. After a bath, their fur clings, with moisture nerves buzz, and Zoomies become their blow dryer and their dance all at once. Research from the American Kennel Club notes that dogs shake off 70% of surface water in less than 4 seconds, a survival trait passed down from wild ancestors. But even after shaking, micro-droplets remain tickling their skin like invisible sparks. Running isn't random. It's their natural way of shaking off the last cling of discomfort. And then there's the after-potty sprint. Scientists at the University of Vienna observed that dogs often circle or bolt after elimination as a form of post-relief release. Think of it like unclogging a pipe. Tension leaves the body, and energy rushes in to fill the vacuum. That dash across the yard. It's a celebration of freedom, a primal high five to themselves. But here's the hook you can't ignore. Many owners dismiss this as silliness. In truth, these bursts are windows into a dog's sensory world, where water feels heavier than we imagine, and relief feels so powerful it has to be broadcast in motion. Miss that perspective, and you miss the secret joy written into their biology. So next time you see a dripping wet blur zoom past your couch, remember, it's not mischief, it's instinct. And if a simple bath can unleash this much hidden energy, wait until you see what everyday sounds can do. Number 3. Sensitivity to sudden stimuli. Picture a glass lake, calm, still perfect. Then toss in a single stone, and ripples spread faster than you can blink. That's your dog's nervous system. One sudden sound, one unexpected movement, and the still water inside them shatters into waves of energy. The Zoomies aren't madness, they're shock waves. Think of the door slamming shut, the pan falling off the counter, the neighbor's car horn piercing the air. To you, it's a minor annoyance. To your dog, whose hearing is 4 times more sensitive than yours, according to a 2018 study in Applied Animal Behavior Science, it's thunder in their skull. Their body reacts before their brain can reason, and suddenly the living room becomes their racetrack. This is survival wired into muscle memory. Wild ancestors who didn't react instantly to unexpected stimuli didn't survive. Zoomies in your living room are echoes of wolves sprinting at the crack of a twig in the forest. It's instinct pure and raw, playing out against the backdrop of your modern walls. But here's what most owners miss. These bursts are not just energy. They're signals. A loud laugh, a dropped spoon, even your sudden movement can flip the switch. And every time you dismiss it as cute chaos, you overlook the ancient alarm system your dog still carries. Scientists call it the startle reflex, and it's stronger in dogs who live in unpredictable environments, which means if your home is full of sudden noises or stress, you'll see more Zoomies, and they're telling you something about the world you've built together. So next time your dog bolts after a noise, don't just smile. Ask, was this joy, or was this survival waking up? And if this is how they respond to sound, wait until you see what they do with your emotions. Number 4. Bonding with you. Have you ever noticed your dog go wild the exact moment you laugh, clap your hands, or come home with a smile stretched across your face? That's not coincidence, it's reflection. Dogs are emotional mirrors, and Zoomies are sometimes their way of saying, I feel what you feel. Imagine your happiness as a spark. The moment it jumps, your dog's body catches fire. They don't sing, they don't clap, they don't text a friend, they sprint. A sudden explosive joy that can only be expressed in circles across your floor. Science backs this up. Researchers at the University of Helsinki discovered that dogs synchronize their stress levels and heart rates with their owners. Your emotional highs and lows literally become theirs. When you're excited, your pulse quickens. When theirs does too, the energy has to escape somewhere, and that somewhere is Zoomies. It's not just physical, it's sacred. Every lap they take across your living room is an invisible thread weaving them closer to you. The more joy you radiate, the tighter that bond becomes. And if you've ever wondered why they lose their minds when you walk in the door, the answer is simple. Their body can't contain the happiness of being near the person who defines their world. But here's the twist most owners miss. This bond is fragile. Dogs who don't get mirrored energy, who return joy and get indifference, zoom less. They retreat. They quiet. Which means those Zoomies you sometimes laugh at aren't just play, they're proof that your dog still feels. You still chooses to sync with your heart. So the next time you see them dash wildly because you laughed too hard or came home too happy, remember, it's not just exercise, it's communion. And if joy can spark this much energy, imagine what loneliness can do. Number 5. Attention seekers. Ever notice how your dog suddenly bolts across the room, zigzagging like a cartoon character, right at the moment you're too busy to look at them? That's not random. It's theater. Zoomies in this case are their stage, and you are the only audience that matters. Imagine a child shouting, waving, spinning in circles, just to get mom or dad's eyes for 1 second. Dogs do the same. Except they don't shout, they explode into motion. Each dash across the carpet is their way of saying, Hey, don't forget me. I'm here. Look at me. Science explains the trick. A 2019 study in Frontiers in Psychology showed that dogs are masters of attention-getting behaviors, deliberately choosing actions that provoke human response, whether it's pawing, barking, or running wildly. In other words, Zoomies can be rehearsed. Your laughter, your gasp, even your chase down the hallway all become rewards that tell your dog, yes, this works. And here's the kicker. Once they learn the script, they never forget it. Every time you react, even with just a smile, you're reinforcing the play. Soon, Zoomies become less about exercise and more about connection. A living feedback loop where your attention is the prize. But here's the warning hidden in the laughter. If your dog only gets noticed when they go wild, they may crank up the show. More Zoomies, more chaos, more desperate bids for your eyes. Which means what starts as comedy could be a quiet cry, am I visible enough in your world? So the next time your dog sprints like lightning out of nowhere, don't just laugh and look away. See the message hidden in the madness. Because if attention fuels the fire, imagine what happens when that fire is left unfed. Number 6. Breaking out of boredom. Picture a clock ticking in an empty room. The sound grows louder, heavier, until it's unbearable. That's what boredom feels like to a dog. Hours of waiting the same four walls, silence pressing down, and then suddenly they erupt. Zoomies become their rebellion against stillness. It looks funny, paws pounding the floor, body twisting like a ribbon caught in the wind. But to them, it's survival. It's their way of telling the universe, I will not sink into nothingness. Science proves the cost of monotony. A 2020 study in Animal's Journal found that dogs left unstimulated for long periods developed higher rates of repetitive behaviors and hyperactivity. In other words, when the mind starves, the body tries to fill the void. Zoomies are not chaos here, they're self-made entertainment, a desperate attempt to light a spark in the dark. Think of it like a child stuck in class all day, tapping a pencil, bouncing a knee, finally sprinting down the hallway the moment recess begins. Dogs don't schedule recess. They create it. A hallway becomes a racetrack. A living room becomes a stadium. A backyard becomes freedom carved out of routine. But here's the hidden danger. If boredom becomes a dog's daily landscape, Zoomies may grow louder, wilder, even destructive. Not because they're bad, but because they're begging for change. Miss that signal and boredom mutates into anxiety. Catch it, and you'll see Zoomies fade into calmer, healthier play. So the next time your dog shatters the silence with a storm of movement, ask yourself, is this joy? Or is this a protest against emptiness? Because if this is how they fight boredom, imagine what happens when stress joins the battle. Number 7. Emotional release after stress. Picture a violin string pulled too tight. You can't see the tension, but you can hear it in the sharpness of every note. That's your dog after a stressful moment. The visit to the vet, the raised voice, the sudden scare tension winds inside them until it must snap. And when it does, it doesn't sound like music. It looks like Zoomies. They bolt across the floor, whip in circles, leap, as if chased by invisible ghosts. To us, it looks ridiculous. To them, it's relief. It's the only way their body knows to drain away the stress that lingers like smoke in their chest. Science confirms it. A study published in Applied Animal Behaviour Science showed that dogs often display displacement behaviors, random bursts of motion, shaking, spinning right after stressful events. These aren't accidents. They are coping mechanisms built into their biology to reset the nervous system. Think of how humans sigh after a fight, or cry after holding back too much. Dogs can't shed tears like we do. Instead, they turn their entire body into the sigh. Every sprint, every skid across the floor is their nervous system letting go. But here's the twist. Not all Zoomies are joyful. Some are cries for balance, for a return to calm. Miss that distinction, and you risk ignoring your dog's emotional health. Notice it, and you'll see Zoomies not as madness, but as medicine. So the next time your dog erupts after a tense moment, don't just laugh. Ask yourself, what stress did they just survive? Because if this is how they heal from small storms, imagine the signals they'll send when the storm never ends. Number 8. Claiming space and territory. Imagine a painter splashing color across a blank canvas. Fast strokes, bold lines, no hesitation. That's your dog, when Zoomies turn the living room into a racetrack. Each lap is a brushstroke, each skid a signature. This is mine. This is home. What looks like chaos is often cartography. Dogs don't hold deeds or keys, they claim their world with motion. Racing across the carpet, circling the yard, weaving between furniture. It's their way of redrawing boundaries, saying, "Here I belong." Science whispers the same story. A 2016 study in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that territorial behaviors aren't just about marking with scent, they include ritualized patterns of movement. In other words, when your dog zooms in familiar spaces, they're not just playing. They're stamping invisible flags with every paw print. Think of wolves running the perimeter of their range, or soldiers marching the borders of their camp. Your dog's wild circuits around the house are echoes of those ancient patrols, compressed into a few seconds of domestic frenzy. It's instinct still alive under the fur. But here's the part most owners miss: Zoomies born from territory are love letters in motion. They don't sprint in places they don't trust. They erupt only where the ground feels safe enough to own. Which means every mad dash in your home is proof that your space has become their sanctuary. So the next time your dog barrels through the hallway like a storm with paws, don't just laugh at the madness. See the map they're drawing, one that says in every line, "This isn't just your house, it's ours." And if they can claim safety with speed, imagine what their final reason for Zoomies might reveal about their heart. Number 9. Dealing with frustration. Picture a door locked tight. Behind it, pressure builds claws, scratching breath-heavy eyes, searching for release. That's your dog when frustration sets in. A toy rolled under the couch. A treat out of reach. A need unanswered. And suddenly, boom, they launch into Zoomies. Not joy, not play, but protest turned into motion. It's easy to laugh, but Zoomies here are lightning bolts striking out of a storm cloud. Each lap is anger melting into speed, each spin a way of burning off the sting of disappointment. And it's not random, biology backs it up. A 2017 study in Behavioral Processes found that dogs exhibit frustration-induced activity bursts similar to pacing in humans when goals are blocked. In plain words, when they can't fix the problem, they run from the feeling. Think of it like us slamming a door or hitting the gym after a bad day. Dogs can't rant, can't text a friend, can't punch a pillow. They pour all of it into their legs, their lungs, their heartbeat hammering against the walls of your home. But here's the part that hides in plain sight. If frustration Zoomies happen too often, they may point to deeper unmet needs, mental stimulation, training, or even your presence. Ignore it, and the storm grows louder. See it, and you turn chaos into a clue, a chance to step in before energy becomes anxiety. So the next time your dog rockets across the room after failing to grab that stubborn toy, don't just smile at the spectacle. Ask yourself, what barrier lit this fire? Because if frustration can spark Zoomies, imagine what else your dog is trying to tell you without a single word. You see, Zoomies aren't just random bursts of madness. They're chapters in your dog's secret language moments, where joy, stress, instinct, and love collide into motion. Every sprint, every circle, every skid across your floor is your dog speaking without words, telling you who they are and how deeply they feel life with you. And maybe that's the real gift of Zoomies. They remind us that dogs don't live in tomorrow or yesterday. They live in this second, wild, unfiltered, unapologetic. They invite us to feel the world with the same raw intensity, to laugh harder, to run freer, to love without hesitation. So here's my question for you. When was the last time your dog had Zoomies? Was it after a bath when you came home, or in the middle of a quiet night? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear the chaos and the joy your dog has brought into your world. And if you felt a little closer to your best friend today, don't let this be the last time. Hit that subscribe button, join our community of dog lovers, and let's keep uncovering the hidden truths and heartbeats behind every wag, every bark, every Zoomie. Because your dog isn't just running in circles, they're running straight into your heart.